Hello everyone and welcome to not an episode of One Game 1 Minute. No, this is the annual Pride Month episode of One Game 1 Minute. For those of you who have been following me, you might have noticed that last year I put up a video called my top 5 favorite games. This year I was thinking about what to do and I realized my favorites haven't really changed much since last year. So no point in doing another video on that, and in retrospect, that's also not my favorite video. If you follow me on Twitter, I talked more about how my video didn't really introduce a lot of new games, it just repeated a lot of LGBT games that we already know about. Also, it wasn't super inclusive. A lot of my favorite games were about lesbian relationships or gay men relationships. There was very little bi representation and no trans representation. And then one of the games, Always Sometimes Monsters, is more choose your own gender and sexuality. While I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and I still love that game, there are a lot better games to play that are inherently queer in terms of its characters and themes, not just queer by selection and game choices. Although it's awesome and important to have choices, I've decided that games like Mass Effect, Dragon Age, The Sims, The Walking Dead Season 4 won't be included in this video. And while games such as Borderlands and Overwatch feature queer characters, there are only a few of them, and I don't think that means the game focuses overall on LGBT themes or characters. I still think of all of those games as honorable mentions, as it's impossible to deny the impact that they've had in regards to queer gaming, but there are others on this list that I feel are more significant. So what have I decided to include? Games that are indie and AAA, any genre of game, visual novel, RPG, point and click, whatever, must include LGBT themes or characters, but the main character doesn't necessarily have to be LGBT. Also, while I will be including some of last year's games again, for the most part, I haven't played all of these games. So why am I including games that I haven't played? Well, just because I haven't played them doesn't mean that they're not important or not good enough for this video. Like I said, I'm trying to make this year's Pride episode more comprehensive. I'm going to have little icons that indicate where you can get these games from, and little flags which indicate what kind of representation you can find in the game. Also, these games are not all recently made and are not ranked in any particular order. So now that we've got some ground rules, let's jump right in. Number 1, coming out on top. Visual novel focusing on a college student who comes out in his senior year and the various people that he can date or romance. Number 2, Yearning, a gay story. Inspired by Coot, or Coming Out on Top, Yags, or Yearning, a gay story, focuses on a college freshman in 2006 who decides to come out of the closet. It features more complex dating mechanics, 5 romantic routes, and also focuses on the importance of friendship in college. Number 3, Knife Sisters. This is a visual novel focusing on a non-binary trans person named Leo who gets caught up in a spooky cult. You can date 3 different people, and the game has a focus on BDSM culture and kink. I'm just gonna pause for a moment here to get the Life is Strange games out of the way. So we got Life is Strange, number 4. This is an RPG interactive story game that focuses on a high school student who gains mysterious magical powers and rekindling her relationship and romance with her best friend. Number 5, Life is Strange Before the Storm. This is an RPG interactive story game that serves as a prequel for the original Life is Strange. This one focuses on the relationship between Chloe and Rachel, who is deceased in the original game. I'm not going to include Life is Strange 2 yet because I'm not entirely sure how the romance between Sean and Finn will play out, if at all. Also, while I love Finn, I'm not really impressed with how the narrative goes more in depth with Cassidy's route and not Finn's. Bisexual boys deserve a rep, but I'm waiting to see how LIS 2 is going to deliver on that. Okay, now let's go through some of the other games. Number 6, Forget Me Not. Visual novel by the creator of the webcomic Four Corners. This focuses on 2 high school boys who are navigating some difficult experiences and learning how to be in a relationship. Number 7, Night in the Woods. This is another spooky RPG story game which includes 3 queer characters. Isn't it wild how at least 2 of these games have a focus on cults? Is there some sort of theme here? 8, A Normal Lost Phone. This is an interactive game that involves going through someone's lost phone to figure out who it belongs to and what happened to its owner, who was revealed to be trans. Number 9, One Night Hot Springs. A cute visual novel that focuses on a Japanese trans woman named Haru who goes to a hot spring to celebrate her friend's birthday. And number 10, Last Day of Spring. Serving as a sequel to the previous game, this story focuses on the relationship between Haru and Erika, one of her best friends, and how they celebrate her birthday. Number 11, JJ Macfield and the Island of Memories. Oh man, so I haven't played this game yet, but when it came out, I read a review for it on Kotaku, and I was kind of amazed by it. This is a horror game that focuses on a trans woman who is trying to save her best friend and romantic interest. Be careful though, this game does involve discussion of self-harm and mechanics relating to self-harm. Number 12, Butterfly Soup. A cute visual novel about queer girls playing baseball and falling in love. Honestly, who could ask for anything more? Number 13, Lady Killer in a Bind. This erotic visual novel by Christine Love focuses on a woman who, through some circumstances, cross-dresses as her brother and ends up being accosted by various women on a ship. This game did get some flack for how some scenes were originally written, but have since been corrected after players voiced concern. Number 14, your Royal Gayness. This is a resource management / dating simulator where you play as a gay prince. Fairy tale dreams do come true. Number 15, Dream Daddy. Out of all the queer games on this list, few have reached the popularity of Dream Daddy. This heartwarming visual novel focuses on a single father, his daughter, and the relationships and friendships between neighbors. Dream Daddy stole the hearts of many, and for good reason. For the next few, I'm more so calling out devs specifically. Number 16, Various by Robert Yang. Robert Yang is a professor at NYU's Game Center. He's known for making simulator games focusing on gay men. Some are fairly trippy, some are funny, but all of them are entertaining. Most notable is The Tea Room. 17, Various by Ibihime. She makes romantic visual novels that frequently feature relationships between queer women. Idol, Blackberry Honey, Strawberry Vinegar, and The Way We All Go are a few of her biggest hits. Number 18, There's This Girl and Missed Messages by Angela He. Angela He makes gorgeous interactive games that also focus on relationships between queer women. Frequently, the games revolve around darker themes such as depression, death, and suicide, but in each of her games there are cute, lighthearted moments that remind players of the importance of love and friendship. Number 19, My Ex-Boyfriend the Space Tyrant. This point-and-click sci-fi adventure game focuses on romance, comedy, and intergalactic combat. It was meant to be the gayest game ever made. Number 20, Coming Out Simulator. This web-based interactive story continues to be one of the most popular, well-known games about being a queer person and coming out to your family. Number 21, Last of Us. When it was first released, Last of Us took the gaming world by storm. This game was particularly significant in that one of its protagonists was a queer character, the lovable badass Ellie. But her sexuality is primarily explored in the DLC, not the main game, and on top of that, it falls into the bury your gays trope. Let's hope The Last of Us 2 is going to give us a happier queer romance set in the apocalypse. Number 22, Gone Home. This was a first-person story exploration game that focuses on a young woman who returns home to find an empty house. As she walks through the house and interacts with various objects, she learns that her sister is a lesbian and about a relationship with another woman. Number 23, Gender Wrecked. Gender Wrecked makes the list because it's a game that entirely explores gender. This is a gender punk visual novel about traveling across a mysterious land and talking to or romancing monsters to learn more about the mysterious force known as gender. Number 24, Heaven Will Be Mine. Queer women piloting giant robots. Queer women piloting giant robots. Queer women piloting giant robots. Number 25, Long Story. This is another game that, although is technically choice-based, I've decided to include because of its impressive inclusivity. You can play as the gender you want and date whoever you want as you progress through your high school experience. It features multiple episodes and honestly is incredibly heartwarming and sweet. That is all I have for this year's Pride Month episode. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you know of an LGBT game that you'd like to add to this list, drop a comment below. I know I would love to hear your suggestions, and I'm sure other people would be grateful for them too. Happy Pride, everybody!